I think. Yeah.
Welcome to the Backlot 605 podcast, episode number 48. I am one of your hosts. I am Casey Kelderman.
I'm Brian Mensing.
And Brian, we're back from SuperCon last week. You had to miss it, unfortunately. Did you have a chance to listen to it, though?
I've listened to bits and pieces.
Do you know what came out as number one?
No, I hadn't got to the end.
There you go.
So it's been a busy week because of SuperCon and various other things going on.
It has been a very busy week. We've been running around all across the state, all across other states as well.
Yeah, right? Get rained on, Jesus.
Yeah, so...
buy new shoes just for that.
If you haven't yet, go check out all of our SuperCon content from last week. We did a live podcast. That was a lot of fun to do. We did that with Andy from Fat Dude Digs Flicks.
Who else?
And the boys from Wednesday Comics. They were awesome. Marvin was just, I don't know, he was on a different level on this one.
Are you saying he was probably a couple beers in?
I don't know if he was, honestly. But the best part about it, throughout our recording of the podcast, he was making a Nicolas Cage bracket.
Don't give him any ideas.
I did, because next year, SuperCon, we're doing Nicolas Cage. No, I don't know what we're doing next year.
We'll reconvene that here. You know, I'll try to bring you back to some sort of reality.
We already know Face Off would win, so there's no point in doing it.
You think so, huh? Face Off, really?
He came down. What did he come down to?
Snake Eyes? I mean, come on.
No, he came down to Face Off and Bad Lieutenant because he was filling it out as we were going.
But that's when you should have just been like, Marvin, pay attention. We got shit that we're talking about, and it's not Nick Cage.
But that might have played a factor into some of his picks, Nicolas Cage.
Really?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to that, we build a 16-film comic book bracket, much like March Madness style. And, yeah, that was a ton of fun to do, and we'll do something again next year at SuperCon, obviously. And, yeah, but this week we're doing something just as special.
Just as special.
Because
we are special.
We are special.
I'm
yes.
special.
Brian, you're back. And I'm glad you're back because we're talking about a topic I think this has just been a long time coming.
It's very close to my heart.
Because for you, it's Fast and the Furious. Ever since I've known you, it's Fast and the Furious and Kevin Smith.
Well, duh.
And, yeah, we're doing this in honor of the release of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, which is hitting some Fathom event screenings. And Jay and Bob themselves, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, are doing a road trip, which Brian is going to be going.
Roadshow.
A roadshow. Brian will be going to one of those.
I will be going at the end of October. I'm going to go up to the cities on the 26th of October to go appreciate the roadshow.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Oh, hey, when I heard it was coming this close, I had the opportunity to do something very similar when Kevin Smith toured with Red State. By happy accident, I happened to be in Chicago the same week he was, and I was like, I'm going to go. When I heard they were doing the same thing here for Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, I was just a matter of going, when am I going? It's not a matter of if, it was a matter of when.
When am I going? Where's the closest place? I will be there.
That is correct.
Yeah, so we're going to be, for this episode, we're going to be ranking the Kevin Smith directed films.
Yes.
We might piss a few people off. Yes.
Maybe myself. I don't know yet.
Any cop-out fans out there are not going to be happy.
Those cop-out fans should just be like, you know what?
All two of them.
All two of them, because even Kevin Smith himself isn't a fan of cop-out.
No, he's not.
He will even apologize for that movie. Granted, he apologizes for a lot of his movies.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump into our usual business here that we didn't cover last week because we were at SuperCon. We got to jump back into it. The box office. Last week, we didn't miss a whole lot because last week's number one, Abominable, was maybe a bomb. I don't know. I was trying to think of a bomb.
You mean considering the fact that it's only grossed like 37 off a $75 million budget in week 2?
Yeah, that one. Anyway, this week's number one, though, crushed at the box office. The number one movie this week, Joker, $96 million. Big opening weekend for this R-rated comic book film. Brian, you had the chance to watch it. How packed was your theater is the first question I have.
I went to the XD theater, so sometimes that's a little bit of a catch there because not everybody wants to pay the premium for the fancy theater. But I'd say probably about 3/4. I went on Saturday at 7:30, so it wasn't like the late show that a lot of people like to go to. It was that early evening type thing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think Joaquin crushed it. This is the kind of thing that, in the same vein of Heath Ledger being nominated for an Oscar, I definitely think that Joaquin definitely deserves the recognition of this role. I mean, the one thing I appreciate about this movie is that even I'm trying to remember. I don't think I even remember seeing a DC logo in the movie at all, period. But I mean, if you changed a couple names and removed the fact that it's a comic book movie, if you will, this movie would still stand on its own. They definitely make the reference of Gotham. They make the reference to the Waynes, that sort of thing and whatnot. But outside of that, I mean, this movie is easily a standalone on just the premise of the story. And I think Todd Phillips did an amazing job on, I think Todd Phillips, I think of The Hangover. I'm like, this is, I don't know what to think. And I went into it with a little bit of a shaky skepticism. Freaking nailed it. They do, lead into certain things when by the time you get to the end. I'm not going to spoil it because I don't want to be that asshole, first weekend, but maybe in a couple weeks I'll, reference other things to kind of maybe bring up about what does Warner Brothers and DC do from here.
Yeah, I haven't had the chance to watch it. I feel everybody I know has watched it, and I've heard nothing but good things, and people that I trust in their reviews, including yourself, you've been raving about it. Andy from Fat Dude has been raving about it. Everything online I've seen, people are just are gushing over it and saying this is what comic book movies need to try to strive for now, which is like crazy.
Right.
Because I think the last one that people really said that about was like Dark Knight. That was the last one where people like, this is what a comic book movie can be. And hearing the same thing from Joker, I just like hearing that. And I like seeing, movies like this succeed in little... I would say it's a passion project. It's not going to be... I mean, it is mainstream. It's based on, obviously, one of the most iconic comic book characters of all time. But it's an R-rated movie. It's not... You're not going to bring your kids to it. You're not going to expect a big boss battle between Batman and the Joker in it,
No.
It's a character study, and I like seeing that out of a comic book film. So I'm excited to see it. I'll probably end up seeing it next weekend. So, I'm looking forward to it.
There's a couple things that I want to at least, bring up here. The first thing is that, 96 million currently, as the estimates are in right now, that's only less than 40% of its total. It's already brought in over 150, in the foreign market.
And it's also the highest grossing weekend of release in October.
I could definitely see that. The other thing I find kind of amusing and not unusual for Rotten Tomatoes and whatnot, is it is considered certified fresh for Rotten Tomatoes, but it only has a 68%, where the user reviews, the audience score is at 90%. The audience is taking more to this than the critics are, which I find fascinating.
Yeah, that is strange. I don't know. Every critic I've seen has been raving about
it. Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's definitely has its, it's good scores, but, you're just looking at Rotten Tomatoes, and you're just like, I haven't read through a lot of them.
Is Fox News reviewing this movie for majority of them, or what? Keeping politics out of it.
I was like,
never mind. Let's move on to Abominable.
Moving on.
Abominable, the animated kids film, takes that number 2 spot, dropping down from number 1. $11.9 million, bringing its total domestic gross to $37.7 million on a $75 million budget, as Brian said. I have no interest in it. I don't know anyone who has interest in it. It's there to fill that family and children's crowd.
And I don't even think that I even knew this was even going to be a thing until like a week or two before the fucking movie came out. Like, for me, it just kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, yes,
there was no marketing that I saw.
Maybe I'm not the demographic, which is certainly possible, but I would have expected...
No, I would say you are the demographic. You have kids that would want to see this movie. Technically, you are the demographic.
I suppose, but
Where that you might not be the one that wants to go watch it, but
the 5-year-olds
the
will.
5-year-olds would, yeah. But still, I haven't seen any marketing or
No.
any, like even
A commercial or an ad in front of YouTube videos.
You know, knowing us movie guys, we're on IMDb every day, pretty much. I didn't see an ad anywhere on IMDb for this.
No, where's that whole, I mean, come on, I'm looking at IMDb right now, and I got
page takeover.
Well, yeah, and right now I'm looking at Joker, and it's being swarmed by Batwoman on the CW.
Yeah.
CW has better, media coverage than fucking some of these movies do.
Number 3 this week, Downton Abbey, $7.9 million, bringing its total domestic gross $73.6 million. This little movie just keeps on going.
The little movie that could.
Yep. I have, again, we talked about it a few weeks ago. I didn't watch the TV show. This isn't my demographic. It's just not for us, but I understand.
You say that you're going to watch like one episode and get sucked in.
Downton Abbey is the greatest thing ever. I don't know. Number 4 this week, Hustler, $6.3 million, bringing its domestic gross $91 million. This movie is making pretty good strides here in the U.S. at least.
I was gonna say is 91. When you're looking at 4 weeks in versus Joker, making about the same amount of money Joker made in one weekend, kind of thing. But off a $20 million budget, that's huge. Mm-hmm. And there was more marketing probably than Abominable. But I definitely think that they've probably made their money back easily. I haven't even looked at like what foreign market even has for that.
Yeah, they did, and it's getting good critical buzz. And Andy gushed about it the last time he was on too. So, and rounding off our top 5, It Chapter 2, $5.3 million. Domestic gross is now over $200 million.
Yeah, the fact that that movie is over a month old and still in the top 5, that tells you that it's been kind of a weak September.
It's been a very weak September.
It is just like, this is my month, bitches.
One thing I see on here, we'll jump to the number 6 here just because I'm looking at these numbers. Number 6 was Judy, and that took in $4.5 million, but only in less than 1,500 theaters. Right,
and actually looking at the numbers here too, that is also an increase of almost 1,000 theaters.
And it took over Ad Astra and Rambo. The little movie that could,
the little Renee Zellweger movie that could.
Yeah, that's surprising. That's kind of cool to see that it's up there that high for such a small amount of theater change. I don't know. That's pretty cool
for the biopic resurgence that's been going on here as of lately. I'm actually surprised it hasn't gotten a little bit more steam, unless they're trying to keep it more low key comparative to other biopics lately.
Yeah, I think they're trying to push the money towards the Oscar, crowd than the mainstream crowd for this one. They're gonna push it towards her getting an Oscar instead of making box office.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right, so that was the box office for the week. Joker absolutely crushing the box office. So we'll see if it can continue into next weekend.
Go Joaquin Phoenix. What is next weekend? Anything good?
It'll take the number 1 spot. All right, let's jump to some news. And the first piece of news that we got is a little bit of Batman news that we missed a few weeks ago.
Yeah, way to go. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let's talk about it because I'm excited for at least one of these. And curious about the other. And the first one,
I'm guessing the one that you're all for is
Jeffrey Wright, is in talks to join the Robert Pattinson-led Batman film as Commissioner Jim Gordon.
Is that your I don't know what I think of this thing, or are you all on board?
No, I'm all on board for that one. The one I don't know is Jonah Hill is in talks for the Riddler or the Penguin.
Either
That's
one of them.
That's the one I don't know.
I definitely could picture him pulling off the penguin easily. He has the body type for it, even with the many years of getting himself into a better shape.
Yeah.
And not pulling off that like Danny DeVito kind of look for the Penguin. I like the idea. And I mean, in terms of like if he does the Riddler, if they go that route with it, it's not like he doesn't have the comedic chops to be able to back it up, if you will. And we know that he's got the range for a dramatic role at the same time.
Out of these two, I would like to see him as the Penguin, Because yes, he does. He would fit the body type, but aside from that, he has the dramatic chops to pull off like a crime boss penguin.
Right.
Which I think I would rather have him go to a darker tone. If I see him as the Riddler, it's kind of be like
you kind of want him to be goofy.
Then you'd want him to be goofy, and I don't really want that in this version of Batman. I don't know.
The Riddler's always a tough one, especially with people are going to have that weird taste in their mouth after Jim Carrey. And trying to
bring back Jim Carrey,
maybe,
and let him go dark.
Let him go dark.
Yeah,
I legit don't think I can't picture him doing that. He's got his little space in the world right now. I don't see that happening. I really like Jeffrey Wright. I can't picture him as Gordon.
No,
I don't know, but that's not to say that I let the movies tell the tale themselves, because I've been wrong before, or in the instances of Joaquin Phoenix, Heath Ledger, anybody playing the Joker kind of thing, until you actually see it and say that it was an awful performance, let it be, and see what comes of it.
Yeah, like I said, I like seeing Jeffrey Wright in there. I think it'll be a different interpretation of Jim Gordon. I think maybe at least he'll have something to do, unlike J.K. Simmons' Jim Gordon, which everybody has completely forgot that he was Jim Gordon.
In which one?
In Justice League.
We don't talk about Justice League.
No one talks about Justice League.
That's okay, because J.K. Simmons now is officially back as canon as the Joe Jonah Jameson of the MCU.
Yes, he is. But Jonah Hill, like I said, if he's Penguin, I could see him pulling it off. It's Riddler. We'll see.
I could see him pulling off both of them, but I would prefer to see him as Penguin.
Yeah. So let's move to the next piece of news that we got here. Jordan Peele is set to write and direct and produce 2 new films at Universal as part of this 5-year deal with them. Looks like they will be original ideas, and yeah, I'm in for it.
It's Jordan Peele. Why would you not be in for it?
That's where he went with Get Out and Us, so it makes sense that he's sticking with Universal. They've been pushing hard a lot with their... Honestly, like, Universal releases a lot of the Blumhouse stuff, but they can't get their own shit together on the Universal side, like Universal Monster side.
Yeah, it's like the only thing that they can get off the ground is the Fast and the Furious.
That's true. It's the one that's churning in the money train at Universal for them right now. And
dudes, we got to make another Fast and Furious movie. Why? We're going into the red.
We're trying to make another Universal Monsters universe. That's why
we need some more money. Just get Vin Diesel and have him be like Frankenstein's monster or something like that.
Oh God, no. But I'm all for this. Let Jordan Peele do his thing and let Universal release him. Mm-hmm. And there's another piece of news that I didn't throw in here, but it involves Jordan Peele, and that is his Candyman reboot that he's producing. Mm-hmm. It is rumored that it is not a reboot.
That it's a sequel.
That it is a sequel.
And we get Tony Todd.
And Tony Todd will be back as Candyman. If that is true, hell yes.
Well,
hell yes.
That would be one of those ones where it's like, if you're going to do, and as willing as the actors are going to be, when you have a horror icon like Candyman, or like, say, Freddy Krueger, anybody can play Michael Myers, anybody can play Jason Voorhees, because there is no face. But like, say, Candyman, you have a face. So it's like, as long as if they want to make these movies, it's, to me, justified to have Tony Todd come back to be the Candyman.
Yeah, it only makes sense.
Unless he were dead.
Like like you said, Michael Myers can pretty much be anyone. Jason can be anyone. Freddy, it's more Robert Englund. But
exactly.
Same here. Candyman, it's Tony Todd.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the IMDb here. It says it's a spiritual sequel.
Whatever does that mean?
Whatever that means, it's a sequel to the Candyman. Like, it's been that long. It'll probably be like a soft reboot. Maybe they'll introduce some new elements to it. But it's still a sequel to Candyman. So I'm all for it if that ends up being true.
Well, of course you're all for it. It's a horror movie.
Well, obviously.
It's Candyman.
And it's a Jordan Peele horror movie.
Right.
Let's move on to a couple new trailers that we got here. The first one up, we talked about it a few weeks ago about the poster. But now this is the trailer for Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. That title is way too long. Just call it Birds of Prey.
Or they should just call it
the Harley Quinn movie.
The Emancipation of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
Yeah. And especially after watching this trailer, that's the way that title should go, is Harley Quinn should be right up front. Because so you didn't watch the trailer.
No.
I watched the trailer.
I think it might have been in front of Joker, but I don't remember. And I think it's me if it was me going, I'm trying to forget this because I want to go in like clean.
Yeah, I'm not going at all after seeing this trailer. I was down on the poster. I thought it looked bad. Set off a weird tone, and I felt that in the trailer. Like, it didn't know what it was trying to do. It was trying to still be darkish like the Suicide Squad, yet be Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, pick a tone. Don't try to mishmash two different tones that aren't going to work together. And for a movie called Birds of Prey, you don't know who the Birds of Prey are. It's the Harley Quinn movie and Friends.
Yeah, a little bit.
All Harley Quinn. And
now that I think about it, yes, I did. It's as you're talking, I'm like, shit, I did see that because I remember her referencing Mr. J. And
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it starts with her talking about her breakup with the Joker and whatever. I don't want to stick on this too long because that will just be negative. But it's not for me. I'm not going to go watch it.
Negative Nancy.
Negative Nancy.
Negative Nancy.
And yeah, it's not for me.
We'll see. I mean, one thing I will give them the credit is the fact that, they're keeping to a certain tone. It may be a weird ass tone, but they're not trying to be anything weird that they're not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
And like I said with the poster, Ewan McGregor is, and I love Ewan McGregor, but I don't know what his black mask is.
No.
One, he doesn't even have a black mask. I don't know why he even used black mask at this point.
Maybe he does. We just haven't seen it yet.
Maybe, but he looks super goofy.
Now that we're talking about this, I remember when I went to go see the Joker and whatnot. My cousin's with me, and we're watching, and he's like, "Holy shit, is that Rosie Perez? I didn't know if she was even in anything anymore."
Yeah, even watching the trailer, like, is that Rosie Perez though?
That is Rosie Perez.
I knew it was, but it's like nothing except Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn showcased in this trailer.
Well, you see,
which is how you're gonna sell seats, I know, but why call the movie Birds of Prey?
You do see like Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and you see the other Birds of Prey. You just don't know who they are.
You just don't know who they are. And I think that will probably end up being the movie. You just don't know who they are.
Who's the Huntress?
All right. The next trailer we got here is for the Matthew Vaughn directed prequel to the Kingsman movie.
You missed the apostrophe.
Kingsman's movies?
The King's Man.
The King's Man. So I just watched this trailer right before we started recording.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in.
Oh, Ralph Fiennes is fantastic for this role.
I'm looking at the cast it's got a huge cast in this movie. Like everybody in this, I'm like, yep, okay, yep, bring it on. Like even watching the trailer, I'm like, all right, Daniel Brühl is in it, sweet. Dejimon Hansu, yep, and literally anything Matthew Vaughn does anymore, I will go see, except this Kingsman sequel, which I still haven't watched.
You still haven't seen Golden Circle?
I haven't seen Golden Circle.
Oh my god.
I know.
I tell anybody, it's like if you can unkill Colin Firth, you can unkill Mark Strong.
You can unkill anyone.
And if you watch the movie, hopefully sometime soon, you'll understand why that's going to be an interesting take if they do that.
Yeah, so I like that they're going back in this one. They're going to go back to set up where the Kingsman started, where it all began, set during a war. I think that's really cool. It adds a new wrinkle to the Kingsman series.
I legit think in order, because it definitely looks World War II-ish, it's definitely one that I think that it would have to be in order for it to make a necessary understanding why they're doing a prequel.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, and the action scenes are all there. I think that's one thing Matthew Vaughn does really, really well. Action scenes, especially the church scene in the first Kingsman is just one of the best things ever.
Yes,
and having it set, like I don't. Is it World War II? Is it World War I? I don't.
I think it's World War II.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, we'll see.
Might be World War One. I think it's World War One. Anyway, we'll figure it out.
It's going to be during a war.
It's during a war
where there's airplanes and parachutes. So we at least
the
know
beginning of parachutes too. It
so
ends
we
with
at least
a great little note.
We know it's not the Civil War.
No, I would watch a Civil War movie called The Kingsman.
We couldn't because they're overseas.
Okay, I would watch a Revolutionary War.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So yeah, I'm in for it. The Kingsman. Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be there.
That comes out February 14, 2020. Gives me a little time to watch the Golden Circle then.
Well, this being a prequel, it's not necessary though.
No, but I feel like I would have to watch it.
Julianne Moore is totally worth it.
Isn't she always?
Yes.
All right, we got to our
Wait,
last.
no, because when she took up the mantle of Jodie Foster's character for the
Brian, we don't talk about Hannibal. We don't talk about Hannibal. All right, the last piece of news. It's going to tie into our main topic for this week. That is because Clerks 3 is happening.
I'll call it tentative.
Clerks 3 is happening. According to Kevin Smith.
According to Kevin Smith, we were all supposed to be getting lots of things and whatnot until they actually come into like filming stage. Because, he's tried to get Mallrats sequel off the ground and whatnot, but no. If he actually pulls off a Clerks 3, he actually showed up on Instagram that he was showing a picture of him and Muse and Jeff Johnson to the gentleman that played Randall.
Jeff Anderson.
Wow, I fucked that one up. Sorry, Kevin. Yes.
If you're listening,
which I know you're not. It'd be nice if you did. No, the fact is, a few of us were talking. It was like, how much money did he have to back the truck up to get Anderson back on board with Clerks?
Well, yeah, that's the thing that it makes me a little bit more
thinking that's going to happen.
That it's going to happen is that, yeah, that's been the one holdup is that he couldn't get Jeff Anderson back, and having him in the picture with Smith and Muse, it adds a little more to credibility to this actually happening.
My only concern is that when he was all on, talking about making his Mallrats 2 sequel, is that as he was progressing on, like, hey, I've got this, I got this. This is, talking Clerks 3 with Anderson being on board. When he was talking Mallrats that he hasn't been able to get off the ground, he literally was like, I'm completing the set. He said, I've got the entire set with the exception of Ben Affleck. And what he meant by that is he literally had, Shannon Doherty and, everybody from the original Mallrats, Michael Rooker, all of them on board to make a sequel. And it's like, you get all of that and you couldn't get the studio to fund you to make the movie. So that's where I'm a little bit nervous in that, maybe that's...
Maybe that's where this Jay and Silent Bob reboot money is going to go to.
Well, exactly, because, yes, because he's made reference about how he makes this movie so he can make that movie, so it's like, if he makes enough money off the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, does he get enough money to be able to make Clerks 3? Is he going to eventually make his Moose Jaws, that sort of thing, that... the one thing I give him credit for is he's a passion project person. He's not going to make movies just to make movies. He's not going to just direct a movie that's not his just because he is in it for the paycheck. He's making the movies that he wants to make. So I definitely give him props for that.
Yeah, like you said, he mentions a lot of things he wants to do, but sometimes they don't happen. Like the Mallrats movie sequel series, whatever it was going to be. Clerks 3 was announced how many different times?
And then you look at Tusk, which was literally an idea born off his podcast that he said, hey, if you say, walrus yes and then the hashtag and comes in the next day and looks at his Twitter feed and realizes it's blown up and shit, you never know.
Yeah, I think it'll happen.
Yes.
And I think I mentioned it to you. I would like if he would end his View Askew universe the way it started.
How's that?
Start with Clerks, end with Clerks.
Yeah, I like the fact when he was talking about Clerks 3, he's like, the end of the saga. I was like, bitch, this wasn't a saga until you decided you wanted to make Clerks 3.
So that I think that's if that's the way he's going to go, I think that's a perfect way to end this entire
This will be his return
universe.
To the No, I think for the sake of Clerks, this is his return of the Jedi.
His end game.
Yeah. His end game.
Clerks 3 Endgame.
Endgame.
Yeah. So we'll keep you updated. Obviously, we'll talk about it more if anything officially gets announced.
I'll fucking talk about it. It's Kevin Smith, man.
All right, now let's jump into the Kevin Smith movies. We're gonna rank them all 12 Kevin Smith directed movies.
Welcome to the countdown.
This is it. This is not the killer countdown. This is the Kevin Smith countdown.
This is the Kevin Smith countdown. This would be a countdown I can get behind.
Yeah? I think that one would get down and dirty, I think, pretty fast.
Oh, Kevin Smith?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has to. It's a Kevin Smith countdown.
Well, no, I meant like if we did a killer countdown style.
Yeah.
You know, like we would be throwing freaking knives all over the place.
Yep. So instead of doing it that style, we kind of came up with
our definitive list.
Our list. I think we agreed mostly on all these. I think it's not going to be a surprise on too many of them, I guess.
No. And I'm the kind of person, when it comes to Kevin Smith movies, 99% of these things, or, well, I don't know, whatever it is, 11 divided by 12, are passion projects of Kevin Smith. So I take them all with the movies that they are, you know. For me personally, it's a little bit harder to rank them as opposed to just talk about them. But I think we did do a decent job on, like, you know, giving the due where they're due.
Yeah. So you mentioned 11 out of the 12 are passion projects. Which one of those is not? Is it our number 12?
That would be our number 12. The Paycheck.
The Paycheck movie, our number 12.
The I'm Never Doing This Again check movie.
Cop Out. Cop Out, starring Bruce Willis, Tracy Morgan. I believe it's the only one that is not written by Kevin himself.
That is correct. That's where I make that reference. This is the first and only bout of where he has not directed his own script.
Which is a weird thing because he even admits, he's like, I'm a terrible director.
Well, he's one of those guys that he's gonna shit on. Sometimes I think it's a coping mechanism that he will shit on his own stuff first, because before anybody else.
Critics can.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Now Cop Out. I've never seen this. I've seen bits and pieces here on TV, and I've never fully watched the movie. I've been told not to by quite a few people, including Kevin Smith.
Right? Yeah. He tries to disown it as much. There isn't a Kevin Smith movie that I do not currently own, so of course I have Cop Out. I saw Cop Out in the theater. I owned the Blu-ray since the day that came out, stuff like that. You know, good, bad, ugly. You know, it's a buddy comedy movie with Tracy Morgan. Sean William Scott freaking is amazing in this, and I'm so glad that they have him in it as well. This is the one where we pretty much get introduced into Adam Brody being part of Kevin Smith's little universe and whatnot. Kevin Pollak shows up in this, you know. So I mean, it's got a nice, good, solid cast. It's just, I mean, it's an okay movie. I mean, this is where you're kind of getting into that Bruce Willis time of, I'm Bruce Willis, so I make the rules even though I'm the actor versus everything else kind of thing. At least from I think part of the issue with this movie is that it sounds like there was a lot of Bruce Willis trying to...
Bruce Willis being Bruce Willis.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like looking at the basic plot here. It's about a guy whose baseball card is stolen?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes, and then... You know,
he has to team up with. So Bruce, I'm assuming it's Bruce Willis is the one that his baseball card is stolen that he's using to pay for his daughter's wedding.
Yes,
and he has to team up with Tracy Morgan to find the memorabilia obsessed gangster.
Which we get to see Tracy Morgan dressed up as a great big cell phone in front of you know, one of those, you know, come into the store here kind of thing as an undercover cop. But yeah, like the whole these are the detective, you know, pair up, you know, and we've got the other pair that like to shit on them, you know, where it's that's the Adam Brody and Kevin Pollak, you know, duo that, you know, faces up against them, I guess, a little bit. I don't know, it's
they're the Rock and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, they're the ones that like to give them
to their
shit
other guys.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, would you recommend Cop Out if I haven't seen it before?
I would, just because will give you a better appreciation for other Kevin Smith movies. For as much as people like to give shit about his writing or some of his movies and whatnot, is to say, hey, if you look at who wrote Cop Out, in regards to the Cullen brothers, that are Cullen.
Not Cohen.
Nope, not Cohen. It's Cullen. It's
Yeah.
Mark and Rob. And if you look at their filmography, it's basically a few episodes here, a few episodes there, here and this and then another, and then 2 Bruce Willis movies.
Yeah, 2 Bruce Willis movies.
Yep, this one and Once Upon a Time in Venice, which I think was a direct-to-video.
Yeah, directed by at
Mark
least
Cullen.
one of them.
Yeah, by Mark Cullen. So, I legit think a lot of this movie, it's not on Kevin Smith. I think it's probably on the writing.
On the writing and Bruce Willis being a jerk.
That too.
Stop being a jerk, Bruce Willis.
Stop being a dick.
All right, the
I
next
think
one.
this might have been maybe one of Tracy Morgan's last before he had his accident and was out of commission for a while.
I think so.
Let's see. Yeah, give or take.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. Yes,
It also
continue.
didn't help, being in Cop Out with Bruce Willis. And it's one of those in Kevin Smith's live shows he talks about quite a bit, Cop Out, and how much.
No, the Bruce Willis time.
The Bruce Willis time.
Whatever clock you have, it's not right because it's not on Bruce Willis time.
Bruce Willis time. All right,
Yes.
let's go to our number 11.
11.
Jersey Girl, 2004, Ben Affleck,
I hate in general.
Ben.
Well,
and J-Lo.
Huh?
I said in J-Lo.
Yes, J-Lo. Yes, this is during the Ben Affleck and J-Lo little time frame and whatnot.
The times before Daredevil.
The times before Daredevil. Yes. Yeah. Can you imagine what would have been absolutely hilarious about this movie is if we would have killed off J-Lo and the love interest would have been Jennifer Gardner instead of Liv Tyler.
Yep. So this is another one I haven't seen. Jersey Girl. What's the Jersey Girl about?
Well, it is hotshot executive in the God, is it TV? No, God, I want to say it's in the music. God, it's been a while since I've watched this anyway, because there is a very funny cameo with Will Smith in this movie. But he's this hotshot guy and whatnot. Basically, has to come home and be like a normal dad because his wife dies, who is J-Lo. Like, that's the part that's kind of funny about this movie at the very beginning, is as much as people wanted to give like Geely and stuff like that, J-Lo dies in like first 10 minutes.
Spoilers for Jersey Girl.
It's what, 2004?
Yeah.
Fuck you. 15 years later, you get spoilers.
And it's Jersey Girl.
Yes. One of the fun stories I love about what Kevin Smith brings up about this movie was that, I don't know if it was a premise that Kevin Smith gave to Ben or something like that, but Ben going back to Kevin Smith going, you need to make this movie. You need to write this movie. And he's like, bitch, you won an Oscar for writing.
Why don't you write
Why don't you write it? Which, I'm not going to lie. What would you think of Ben Kevin Smith collaboration in terms of like writing or directing?
That it's just to sidetrack onto that. I've always thought that would be the perfect Ben Affleck Batman movie.
It's let Kevin Smith write it.
Let Kevin and him write it together.
Yes.
And have Ben direct it.
Yes. And then
that always made sense to me.
And then let Kevin Smith cameo again, like he played Jack Kirby in Daredevil.
Yeah, he plays the Penguin.
But yeah, and then he comes back home. He's got to take care of his daughter. His father's played by George Carlin, so this is the second iteration of the Carlin in the
View Askew universe, or
this
the Kevin Smith films.
Yeah, I was gonna say this wouldn't be is not a View Askew, at least based on the trilogy. But yeah, I mean, it's not great, but I find fascination in some of the points that he makes in this movie. Like, you've got his daughter who's literally in elementary school, and for her project for school wants to do a rendition of Sweeney Todd. Like, anybody who knows Sweeney Todd knows how dark and that can be for a musical, and we're gonna do that as an elementary school play.
Yeah, this is just one I never went out to seek to find, and Honestly, I kind of want to watch this one. Cop Out, I'm like, whatever. I've heard the horror stories behind it.
Yeah.
This is just one people just don't talk about, I think, is part of it.
It's literally one that fell off like everybody's radar. I mean, Ben's radar, J-Lo's radar.
Is this his first? This is his first one outside the View Askew universe, right? His first one outside of having Jay and Bob and everything.
What year was that?
2004. So
it's got to be pretty close because Jay and Bob was like early 2000s.
Yeah, so it is technically his first one. Yes, because Jay and Silent Bob is 01.
Yes.
Yep. So maybe that's why people kind of look down on Jersey Girl a little bit. It's because it's the first time he's taking a different route.
He's taking the risk, if you will.
He's taking the risk, yeah. So Jersey Girl, our number 11.
There was no Jay and Silent Bob, so everybody's like, "Fuck you, I hate it."
I hate it. Ben had to have J-Lo in it, of course.
Well, and if people want to bitch about that, that's just stupid, and I say that for the simple reason of, if there's one thing that Kevin Smith does is he works with his friends. And I'm going to assume that if he's friends with Ben Affleck, he's indirectly at the time friends with J-Lo. Hey, do we want to throw you in here for, 10 minutes? Well, yeah, you're going to do that. You're only going to pay her scale anyway.
And honestly, I think this movie kind of gets mixed up into the Geely conversation as well, just guilty by association.
Absolutely. So you have those people who are automatically going to hate it because they think Geely.
Yeah. So is this better than Geely?
I don't know. I never saw Geely.
Okay. I've heard not to, too. So, all right, that's our number 11, Jersey Girl.
Jersey Girl. Go see Jersey Girl.
I'll go watch it eventually. Our next one we got up here, his latest film before Jay and Bob's reboot.
Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Is Yoga Hosers, our number 10.
I enjoy this, as bad as it is. And I'm just looking over at your screen there with the 4.3 on IMDb.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
I'm more leaning towards the 4.3 on that crowd on IMDb. I don't know what to think of this movie, honestly. I didn't hate it. It's a movie Kevin Smith wanted to make, obviously, with his daughter, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp and his daughter are both in it as well, and it seemed like an idea he had wanted to do for a while, especially putting Harley Quinn Smith in the lead. Mm-hmm. And it is very much a passion project, which I like to see. And he funded it all himself,
right?
And I like seeing that. And it's an interesting concept, at least. Like, where else are you gonna find? Basically, it's Clerks when they fight Nazi bratwurst. Like, who else is gonna make that movie besides Kevin Smith?
Right.
No one.
I mean, it's one of those things that whether he originally intended for this to be a thing and whatnot, but like when he originally brought them into Red State for their small little cameo, and he starts kind of churning the idea.
You mean Tusk?
Sorry. Yes. Sorry, Tusk. My bad.
You're fine.
I'm fine. Fuck, I'm making errors left and right.
Look at this. I was just looking at the Metacritic score, 23.
Right. But it's one of those things that's like, hey, I want to make a movie with my daughter, and I can't help that one of my daughter's best friends happens to be Lily Rose Depp. They just happen to go to the same school. They just happen, that sort of thing. I mean, that's going to happen in Hollywood. You're famous. Your friends are going to be famous because of their parents. The fact that we get to have Johnny Depp with a dick on his face is great. Guy Lapone. I love the humor of Guy Lapone. I love it when Johnny Depp goes full on Johnny Depp when he gets in a character. When you're talking, like Pirates of the Caribbean and Sweeney Todd and just his Tim Burton movies or wherever the case is, it's literally a dick on his face.
Yeah, that is the biggest problem I have with this movie, because that was my biggest problem with Tusk, which we'll get to, is Johnny Depp's character of Guy Lapointe. He's in this movie way too much, and I didn't like him in Tusk. I wish all of his scenes were cut. But the fact that he's in this movie pretty much the whole thing, isn't he?
Yeah, pretty much.
What I remember.
But and if you really think about it, I mean, the fact that we have Johnny Depp in a Kevin Smith movie, Like, you have a certain gauge of, like, certain people you expect, oh, yeah, they fit. Or, no, they would not fit. Like,
or they've been around since Mallrats. And, of course, Jason Lee and Ben Affleck will show up. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to the going, you got Johnny Depp in this fucking low-budget nothing movie. He probably was like, hey, my friend's dad is making a movie, and I get to be in a big role, and I get to make a movie with my daughter, which I may or may not ever be able to do. He's obviously not doing this money or making this movie to make money. He's probably okay with that.
Yeah, like we'll mention this a bunch of times. Passion projects. That's what he does.
Yes.
And I think this is maybe his biggest one that just didn't work. Like you
didn't like the Bratzies? You didn't like the German with the German with all the bad Actually, I like Ralph Garman's impersonations.
It didn't work for me. That's the whole thing. Like, honestly, like, I can't say it's a bad movie or anything. Like,
it's not a great movie.
Yeah, it's not a great movie. I don't know if it found its audience at all. It still might. That's kind of up in the air. It might end up being one of those cult movies that 10 years from now it finally finds its audience.
Yeah.
Because when you look at Kevin Smith movies, it hasn't really clinged on like Tusk has, or Red State, or the View Askew movies have.
Right.
So it might take some years for this movie to finally catch on and find a fan base. So.
And who knows? Maybe it's when they're getting older and they're starting to make a name for themselves and whatnot. And I mean, who knows? I mean, you got Lily Rose Depp, who's got a movie coming out here shortly. Harley Quinn is in Jay and Silent Bob reboot as well,
and she was just in Once Upon a Time.
And in Once Upon a Time, right? But I mean, if you look at the trailer for Jay and Silent Bob reboot, like, she owns that one little scene that you see in the trailer. You're just like, I need to see this movie just for that.
She'll be in that movie quite a bit. So.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. So yeah, that is our number 10, Yoga Hosers.
Yoga Hosers. You're not gonna go for a Haley Joel Osment Canadian Nazi.
No, not this time. Our number 9.
Number 9. It's almost 10.
Yes, I was waiting for you to say that. Hey, but number 10 was Yoga Hosers.
For Yoga Hosers, that's one of my favorite lines. 9.
All right, number 9 though. We do have a View Askew movie, and that is Clerks 2.
Clerks 2, yes.
So yeah, the basic plot of Clerks 2 is this Dante and Randall are still working at the convenience store, and it open. So I just watched this movie just in preparation for this episode.
Okay.
I like how it starts in black and white like Clerks.
Yes.
And he opens up the shed door to open up the convenience store, and it's on fire. Closes it, opens it again. It's still on fire, and it kind of zooms out from that and starts becoming color.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I like it because it's honestly like Kevin Smith saying, I'm going to burn the old Clerks down. This is the new Clerks. This is Clerks 2. I'm not going to be doing the same thing over again. And so I thought that was a good way to open it. And Dante and Randall end up going and working at Mooby's.
Yes.
Fast food restaurant, his version of a McDonald's.
Which, the one thing I like about this too is that, in the early years of the View Askew, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, everything like that, he's very much done like what Tarantino has done, in that he's littered with little Easter eggs that makes it its own universe. Mm-hmm. And we see Mooby in Dogma.
Yeah.
And the fact that we get to revisit Mooby from a different perspective.
Spend the entire movie there. Yeah.
Yes. I love the fact that he's creating. He's like, okay, I have my version of McDonald's. I have my version of this. I have my version of that. So I love the fact that we get to see Mooby in a much bigger capacity.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Clerks 2. I was kind of surprised. Like, no one really talks about Clerks 2. It's always, the original Clerks. I really
because all those that do talk about it always automatically want to be like, well, it's not as good as Clerks, the first Clerks movie.
It wasn't trying to be, though. I think as what he was saying within the first scene of the movie. It's not Clerks anymore. It's
Clerks 2.
It's Clerks 2.
It's his Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Or his Two Towers. That is probably my favorite thing about this movie is what's the character's name? the other guy that works at movies with them. Oh God, I can't remember. I'll try to find it. Anyway, his conversation that he has with Randall about Empire or Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings, like that whole entire banter. I thought that was the best part of the movie. And Kyle, I can't. Can you find that kid? Do you know who I'm talking about though?
Yeah, I do. And all of a sudden, his name is
Elias, played by Trevor Furman.
Yes, there you go.
Surprisingly, hasn't showed up in any other Kevin Smith movies after.
No, if you look, if I just pulled up his IMDb page, this is literally the last thing he did.
Oh, poor kid.
He hasn't done anything since Clerks 2, so maybe this killed his career. Maybe this is where he's like, I can't do this.
He
grew up in South St. Paul, Minnesota.
Really? Maybe the donkey scene ruined his career.
Oh my God, the donkey scene.
That's... I don't know what to think of it. If you've seen Clerks 2, you know what I'm talking about. But the donkey scene,
especially when he realizes who is who.
Yeah. Oh my God, I don't know what Kevin Smith was thinking.
Kevin Smith was thinking, if I never make another movie again, I have my donkey scene.
I have my donkey scene, and boy does he! I think a welcome addition to this movie though is Rosario Dawson.
Yes.
She's really good in this movie. She fits in perfectly with those two. Like, it's... Whenever you think of Clerks, it's Dante, Randall, and then you have Jay and Bob on the side. Mm-hmm. But she fits in perfectly with Dante and Randall.
Oh, definitely. And that's where I hope that, knowing that we get to see, hopefully, more... I don't know what. We'll see how that all goes.
Yeah, with like we mentioned, Clerks 3 hopefully coming, she has to be back. Like,
right.
After
she's got to be back, eh?
She has to be back. And, I enjoyed this movie. I mean, it besides the the donkey scene, which I'll keep bringing up because it's like the poop monster and Dogma. It's what everybody's going to think about.
God, I love the fucking
I love the poop
shit.
monster.
I love the shit demon.
But yeah, it's a good movie. It's funny.
Yes,
it has.
I think it legit.
Banter.
I think it legit gets the shit put on it because it's not the first Clerks. But I did enjoy this movie. I think it was a good, solid follow up to the original Clerks.
And for it being part of the View Askew universe, it kind of flips all that on its head, especially at the end when they're in jail. And they look towards Silent Bob to say something insightful again, like he does in every other movie. Yep. He's like, I got nothing.
Nope.
I'm like, okay, you've changed your entire format that you've fallen on since the beginning. And I love that. And yeah, for how much I kind of hate Randall in this movie. He's kind of just an ass throughout the entire movie. His speech at the end in that jail is really good, and the friendship that those two have, it's perfect. And yeah, I like after seeing this, I would love to see where they can go with Clerks 3.
Well, here's hoping between where we go with Jay and Silent Bob reboot, because we'll see where that leads him. Because you figure this is the last movie he's done as View Askew before Jay and Silent Bob reboot comes out.
Yep. So we'll see how that, if at all, if it connects back.
It will. It will.
It probably will.
I mean, the fact that we got Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, directly linking with Mallrats, it's all there.
Yeah. All right, so that was our number 9. Clerks 2. I recommend it. I would say if you're into the Kevin Smith humor, you're definitely going to fall in line with Clerks
If you're
2.
into the Kevin Smith humor, you're listening to this anyway, and you've probably watched it.
Yeah. All right, our number 8, Zach and Miri make a porno.
Do they now?
They do not. So Zach and Miri Make a Porno is the most Kevin Smith movie without being the most Kevin Smith movie, because pretty much the only one that he has worked with before or since that's really in this main cast is Justin Long, Jeff Anderson, and Jason Mewes.
Jeez. But
But the main characters in this have never been in a Kevin Smith movie before or since, which I find really fascinating. Seth Rogen, Elizabeth Banks, they star as two... are they roommates? I can't remember. It's been a while.
they work together at the... They're both baristas at the...
Yeah.
at the coffee shop.
And they're been lifelong friends, and they're both down on their luck trying to find a way to bring in more cash. So they decide, hey, let's make an adult film together. So they bring in this big cast and crew of different characters to help bring this along, including Craig Robinson joins them up, Brandon Routh, Jeff Anderson, Jason Mewes, Justin Long, and just a big cast of characters. And what I found really charming about this movie is, it's called Zack and Miri Make a Porno. It's a taboo subject, but it handles the characters in it so well.
Yes,
you care about the Seth Rogen's character and Elizabeth Banks' character.
Well, I mean, honestly, with all of them, I mean, just people are taken aback because I remember when the movie posters got censored, and all that was going on and whatnot. It's just that just because it's got the word porno in the movie doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be
Be a porno.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and a lot of times if you look up this movie, it'll just come up as Zack and Miri.
And just out of curiosity, when you're talking about working with Kevin before, where was Justin Long before this?
I mean, like before or after.
Craig
Robinson and Seth Rogen and Elizabeth Banks haven't worked with him before or since.
Oh,
Which I would love to see them all come back in some capacity. I mean,
I definitely
they work really well with Kevin.
Oh, definitely. And I know that because when they were making this and whatnot, this was one where Kevin Smith knew he needed to have Seth Rogen. As soon as he saw Seth Rogen on basically, show up like Superbad, stuff like that, he's like, I need to work with this guy. And so this was one of those passion projects of, I need to work with this man. He's going to be a star. I mean, you look at what Seth Rogen has done since this, and call me not surprised, because anybody that knows Kevin Smith knows how much of a nerd he is for the Canadian culture, and has probably watched him grow since Freaks and Geeks.
Yep. And just imagine how much weed was smoked on this set.
Oh my God, you are not kidding.
Yeah.
Between the both of them, you just open up the trailers.
I would like to see these two make a stoner comedy together. Kevin Smith and Seth Rogen.
Ooh, like bring in some of like Kevin's friends and then bring in some of Seth Rogen's friends. Oh my God, that would be amazing. Okay, so kind of like what you made the reference of, like, if we had like Ben and Kevin making a superhero movie together, is getting these guys to make the stoner
movie together.
And I picture something kind of on the lines of like This Is the End, where you're literally bringing in it's almost like This Is the End meets Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where it's just literally just littered with all of their friends.
Yep. Have Jason Mewes meet up with James Franco.
Bring in all I was gonna say is bring in both the Francos, bring in like everybody.
Jay Baruchel. And
yes.
I would watch that movie 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
I officially want to send this out to Kevin Smith and be like, you need to make this.
Make this next. Screw Clerks 3. We don't want that.
We don't want Clerks 3. We want
Seth Rogen, Kevin Smith stoner movie.
Yeah, which sucks because Seth Rogen is doing so much production and behind the scenes stuff lately. It's like, when would he find time?
He'll find time. Weed helps him find time.
Weed is time.
All right, so that's our number 8, Zack and Miri Make.
Please watch Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Yeah, I would say it's an underrated movie within his filmography.
It's an underrated movie for Elizabeth Banks' filmography.
Yeah, everybody in this movie has blown up.
Tell everybody, be like, do you want to go see Zack and Miri Make a Porno or Charlie's Angels?
Go watch Zack and Miri instead.
We love you, Elizabeth Banks.
All right, let's move to our number 7, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yes.
I love Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
I love the fucking movie poster for this. I remember at the Century when this came out, and they had the big-ass banner up on the wall by the ticket stand and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Just big old Jason Mewes. The fact that we actually get to see Jay and Silent Bob be the lead characters, in one of his movies, was absolutely great. If one does not know or realize how the View Askew universe is connected, this is the sequel to Mallrats.
This is where the monkey comes in.
Yes. If anybody never ever pays attention to the orangutan is at the end of Mallrats.
Like, what the fuck is that about?
Well, but they even mention that though. That this was, another time or something. I forget how it's worded, but, they literally reference to the fact that,
We'll explain it later.
Yeah, and then, years later, all of a sudden, we're like, oh my god, it's the fucking orangutan!
Yeah, so this is a super meta version of Jay and Silent Bob, where their characters, Blunt Man and Chronic, which first showed up in Chasing Amy, right?
Yes.
Yes. And their Blunt Man and Chronic characters are going to be turned into a live-action movie played by Jason Bigg and the Beak.
And
James Vanderbeek.
Yes.
With their villain, the Cockknocker. Yes. Played by the great Mark Hamill, kids.
Yes, and, I love the fact that, he wrote, the way he wrote this specifically and cast it is that, there was going to be those blurred lines of characters and whatnot. And the fact that you've got Ben Affleck not only playing his character from Chasing Amy, he's playing himself. Yep. You've got Jason Lee playing not only his character from Chasing Amy, but his character from Mallrats. That there's multiple characters that are involved and whatnot. They're on the set of Good Will Hunting 2 Hunting Season. Is by far one of my favorite fake sequels that need to be made. And just overall, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It literally is him poking fun at himself.
While Hollywood in general.
Yeah, and exactly be like, dudes, don't you realize that they're making a movie based off of comic book characters that are based off of you? Which is why I fucking love the premise of Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I do. And I love the fact that we have a sequel to this. Yes, but the fact that we got James Vanderbeek, we got Jason Biggs, we got so many people in this movie. Will Ferrell is in this movie. It's one of those movies I can say there's a movie with Will Ferrell in it that I enjoy.
And you enjoy it. You kind of, this is where Will Ferrell really works.
Yes.
He's not the lead, doesn't have to be the lead. He's a side character. He's plays a cop chasing. He's just an idiot cop that's chasing after these two. Carrie
Fisher's cameo in this is absolutely as great. The nun.
Yep.
Like, in what universe are you gonna have Jason Mewes trying to go down on Carrie Fisher in a car?
And then the George Carlin cameo is great as well.
Well, yes, because we need the George Carlin cameo to be able to get into the Carrie Fisher cameo.
And there's so many great cameos. Like it's hard to pick the best ones in this.
And I did like the fact that of the three girls that were, oh my God, Sean William Scott's freaking cameo in this is beautiful.
Brent
is the fact that of the three we've got. Oh my God! Why am I drawing a blank on her name? There's Shannon Elizabeth, and then
Allie Lauder.
And then who's the other one?
His wife?
No, not his wife. The other one. There's four of them.
Elisa.
Yes.
Dushki.
Yes, is the fact that his wife gets to play one of those those villains, if you will.
Yeah.
Or the fact that his the organization that he works for is the Clit.
We are members of the Clit.
You will never find the Clit.
Mewes is like, he is a star in this movie though. Mm-hmm. He is so good in this movie. One of my favorites openings ever is with them as kids out in front of the convenience store.
Yes.
And then into Jay's song, and he owns this role obviously, but yeah, he's fantastic in this movie. Every beat that he has to deliver as Jay is perfect.
Well, and I think it helps though too. I mean, Jay is literally written as Mewes, exactly. Outside of the fact that Kevin Smith probably gave him better dialogue. But no, you make reference to the kids at the very beginning of this here, and for those that don't know, is that baby Silent Bob in the beginning of this movie is Harley Quinn Smith, who gets to grow up and be in the dad's sequel, which I think is great as well. I mean, he literally made it a family film. He literally has his entire family in this here. Mm-hmm. His best friend, hetero life mate, and his wife and his daughter, and he pretty much brought in almost pretty much every friend he could into this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yes.
Like, this is the one I think I've watched the most out of all of his movies. It's so easy to watch and endlessly rewatchable.
So then why is this one so low on the list? We're at 12 and we're only at number 7. Did you rank this badly?
No, I didn't rank it badly. Because as a movie, I think the other ones are all better.
So they're better, but this has got the more rewatchability?
Yes. I think this one is just... Like, I'm not going to go and rewatch Tusk or Red State constantly.
Wrong. Oh, I don't know about that.
I do like Tusk, though.
But Red State is amazing.
But, like, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, it's such an easy watch. And I think it's...
It's just a fun watch.
Yeah. And I think it's just one of those movies that, yeah, you can go back and watch whenever you want. And that's probably why there's nothing, bad. Like, it's not a bad movie. And I think this is where we fall into... pretty much his entire top 10, maybe besides Yoga Hose. I will go back and rewatch many times. So yes. This is just a ranking just as a way to talk about him pretty much. But yeah I think you
have a thing for lists.
I do. I like the lists. So yeah, Jay and Silent Bob, number 7.
7.
Number 6 on our list. Lisk.
Do you need to learn how to talk?
Yes.
Tusk.
Walrus, yes. So Tusk.
I'm a full on hashtag Walrus yes in all caps kind of. I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, this is right. 2014 is right around when I found fell into the Kevin Smith era.
Right.
Like started watching. This is when I first watched Clerks and Chasing Amy and Mallrats and Jay and Bob.
And then you look at Tusk and go, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah, but I was excited for it because I'm like, all right, he's doing a horror. Like, I had seen Red State at that point. I'm like, yeah, let's do another horror movie. And yeah, I was, by then, his big social media push was going out for the movie, and I was following him on social media. So I was excited for Tusk. And yeah, Tusk is a effed up movie, and I love it.
I love that. I'm right there with you. The one thing I love to point out to people, because they think a lot of art films, if they will, is A24 put out Tusk.
They put out like I mentioned, they put out Passion Project, and this is definitely one of those passion projects built out of a podcast from Kevin Smith.
And I legit think that, after Kevin Smith had the opportunity to work with Michael Parks in Red State, that when he realized that his fans would like to see a movie like this, as fucked up as it is, he immediately went, I know exactly who Michael Parks is going to be, and I'm going to get him back in this movie. And Michael Parks is fucking creepy in this movie.
Yeah. If you don't know what this movie is about, it's about this podcaster. He was originally going up, is it into Canada?
Yes.
Because he's going up to Canada
this is part of the Great North Trilogy.
To find
Great White North.
Yeah, he's trying to find this internet sensation of this kid who used a samurai sword to cut off his leg. Turns out the kid died. And he has to go and try to find a new person to interview, and he ends up falling into Michael Parks' lap.
Yes.
And it turns out Michael Parks has a much more sinister under...
He pretty much thinks the perfect being is a walrus.
Yeah, he has a sinister thoughts of what he wants to do with Justin Long, turning him into a walrus.
Yes, and you have to admit, for like a low budget B movie, if you want to call it that, compared to like some of his other stuff, the special effects in this movie are fucking fantastic.
Yeah, they are. They're done. Who did the effects in this movie? I cannot think of it off the top of my head. I think it's the guy who did Walking Dead. Now I can't think of his name.
Greg Nicotero?
I think so. But I'll look. I'll try to find it. Keep talking.
I think you're crazy. But yes, I mean, this is one of those ones that, if you're going to follow up Red State and go dark, how do you go do you go in the same vein of Red State, or you go just who knows what the fuck you're going to be doing? And no, I get a kick out of this here. Gives him another opportunity to work with the boy wonder that is Haley Joel Osment.
Robert Kurtzman did the special effects for the Walrus.
Yeah, maybe you're thinking Walking Dead because it sounds like Robert Kirkman.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember the first time I watched Tusk, I honestly almost threw up seeing the walrus suit.
Really?
It was nasty. It was nasty.
You know it was fake, right?
I know it was fake, but it's still
No,
just...
it's really made out of real human being skins.
But just look at that. That's just disgusting. Imagine being turned into that walrus.
And on a side note, Kevin Smith did put on YouTube, he did put out a making of documentary of Tusk that you can watch on his YouTube channel. It's about an hour and a half, I'd say. It almost seemed more, to me, it seemed less documentary than it is more of a daily diary of the making of the movie that Jason Mewes basically got to do.
That's kind of funny knowing that Mewes was on set the entire time for Tusk.
Well, yeah.
Why not?
I mean, yeah. I think he legit works on all of Kevin Smith's stuff, whether he's in front of the camera or not, in some capacity or another.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. Even if he's just like, yeah, you should just come, hang out.
Yeah. What else is he gonna do? Yeah. We love you, Jay.
Yeah, I love Tusk. Michael Parks just crushes it in this role. The scene with them two in front of the fire pit, him telling him about the walrus,
The fireplace.
yeah, is just a perfect scene. It's just all dialogue, two characters, and that's one thing Kevin Smith does so well is dialogue. Just people talking, and then you have great actors like Michael Parks just delivering every piece, every line perfectly. So Tusk is our number 6.
When we think dialogue and whatnot, what would you think of a cross of we get Tarantino to work with Smith?
In terms of I might have a hot take here. I like Kevin Smith dialogue more than Tarantino dialogue.
Is it because Tarantino is a little long-winded with his dialogue?
Yes. He needs to have Kevin edit his movies for him.
You just like the dick and fart jokes from Kevin Smith.
I do like dick and fart jokes. All right, we are going into our top 5. Our number 5,
Dun, dun, dun.
the one that started it all, Clerks.
So, how old were you when you finally got the chance to watch Clerks, considering this movie came out before you did?
Probably watched it in like 2013, 2014, like I said.
So this movie is almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
It's already gone through a couple anniversary editions.
Before I watched it, yep.
Wow. Because I was going to say, I still have my Clerks X, which is the 10th anniversary DVD. So, I've even owned that longer than before you'd actually watch this movie.
Yeah.
What did you go... No, being that this movie is very well documented, that it was a passion project, financed on credit card debt of like $28,000 going into this, what was your initial thought of this movie?
It is very much one of those 90s independent movies where it is dialogue heavy, focusing on the characters and their interactions with each other. It doesn't really matter about the quality, like the quality of the picture, like the image quality or the sound quality or any of that. It's all about what you can do and how you can make a movie, pretty much. And I think that's one of the best things to come out of Clerks.
Right.
Is that who was Kevin Smith?
He
was a convenience clerk. Like
he was literally nobody.
Yeah, and he went and made this black and white comedy with maxing out his credit cards with his friends and local actors, and he made a movie that is known around the world now. And I think that is the biggest thing to come out of it. Like, honestly, like, Clerks isn't one that I go back and rewatch constantly like I do Silent Bob Strike Back or Mallrats, but
you totally should, just for the interaction with Dante Randall and the construction worker when they're talking about the Death Star.
Oh yeah, that's the best scene in the movie, though.
about the contract work and poor people that died that should not have died on the original Death Star.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things about this is how many, because I one of the first things I found Kevin Smith from was when Comic Book Man was first airing on AMC.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, Walt Flanagan is one of the main people in Comic Book Man. And then watching Clerks, and he plays like 12 different roles or something like that.
Oh, they all played like multiple roles.
Yeah.
I mean, even Scott Mosier, the producer, is like 2 or 3 roles in this thing. Because he plays Snowball. He plays probably one of my most favorite lines of this entire movie. It doesn't come from him, but it stems from him, is the 37 in a row. And I mean, to the point where when I got a custom jersey done, god damn it, my number was 37.
Yeah, you can see where the influence of this movie comes in.
And it's very quotable too.
Yeah. I made a couple short films in college. One of them I shot in black and white. I'm like, well, I don't want to do any color correction because I don't really know how to do it. Let's just shoot it in black and white.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to go the Clerks route. And I had a given presentation in class about it. And they asked me, like, why did you shoot in black and white? I'm like, well, because Kevin Smith did in Clerks.
Because I can, bitches.
And yeah.
That's what your response in class should have been. Because I can, bitches.
I should have just said, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I'm not even supposed to be here. Gosh.
Yeah, you can tell it's shot on the cheap, but that doesn't matter, though. You feel the charm coming throughout this movie in every scene.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and especially from people who, are not actors or weren't actors and whatnot. And, again, they're just literally there to, hopefully see if this comes to any sort of fruition. The fact that this is the point where Kevin Smith was supposed to be the Randall character, and he realized that of all the dialogue that he wrote, he's like, I'm not that good of an actor. I can't do that. So he hires Anderson to do it, and figured he might as well take the Silent Bob route because there's little to no dialogue, and he can keep his attention and make sure that Muse is, doing his thing. Because back then he was still a little off the cuff. There might have been drugs involved, not necessarily the marijuana.
Yeah, and that's one of the things at the end. Silent Bob's speech is supposed to be Jay giving that speech.
Right.
And he couldn't remember the lines.
Yes.
So Kevin Smith just did it. And now that's become a staple of the character.
Yes, exactly. Where he literally is just like a complete mute for the entire time until he gets that one bit.
The bit at the end. So, yeah. Clerks, our number 5.
It's not always at the very end, but majority. But yes.
It's an important part of it.
It's an important part. That is correct.
All right. Our number 4.
Number 4.
This one might shock people how high this movie is.
I do not think this is a bad placement for this movie at all.
I don't either.
That is Red State. As I've mentioned before, I had the opportunity. This was a straight to VOD type of thing, with the exception of the small roadshow thing he's doing, kind of like what he's doing in Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Again, I had the opportunity to go see this with the Q&A in Chicago, just because I fucking happened to be there that same week and whatnot, and I don't regret it. It was great seeing this on the big screen. This was the departure from what we knew of Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith is like, I'm going to make something different, and we'll just see what happens. He got freaking John Goodman and Michael Parks and Melissa Leo. I mean, he's got Academy Award, nominated and winning individuals in this movie. Again, kind of like when I make reference about, a couple of those other ones, like, you got so-and-so, and like, did you ever hear how he came up with the premise of Red State?
I haven't.
This is his answer to the Westboro Baptist Church. In that his response was, who would these people picket if there was nobody left to picket? So the idea is it's kind of his version of Westboro Baptist Church meets Waco. Kind of.
Yeah, it's his. I think we mentioned this movie in our cult movie episodes with Andy. I think you brought it up. Yeah, it's about this religious cult that drives in this group of teenagers who are invited from, is it Melissa Leo that they
they don't know that it's Melissa Leo
Yeah.
and whatnot because it's like an online thing and whatnot.
Yeah.
They get duped into coming to this.
To have sex with this
Yeah.
lady that they met online.
Exactly.
And
Which
they-
I would like to point out that 2 of those 3 actors that come, or kids that come to the church, are from Disney Sky High.
They gotta shed that Disney
Exactly.
that Disney weight.
The main kid and then the really tall kid both come from Sky High. The fact that I know that, but I don't care. I like Sky High. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched this movie in a while, but I remember Michael Parks' performance is what really sticks out to me, as well as John Goodman in it.
And on top of it too, like you're not used to having a movie from Kevin Smith where you get done and you sit there and you have to think about life. Like this movie is legit one of those ones where you get done and you sit there and you have to think about it.
Yeah, and it's like I think Tusk has some of those Kevin Smith quirks in it.
Yes.
Red State kind of doesn't.
No.
This is like the most off movie that he's ever done, and I'm glad he stretched his wings and could do something like this.
Well, yeah, because I remember him saying, I gotta remember if this was the Q&A or if this would have been one of his specials afterwards, where he made reference to the fact that when he was writing the script for Red State, he's like, as soon as I started to realize I was venturing down a familiar path, I stopped and went the other direction. Because he's like, I'm not going to do the same thing again. Mm-hmm. And this is exactly what we got, which was John Goodman freaking owns this. Again, Melissa Leo, Michael Parks especially, and then John Goodman. They all absolutely own their respective roles. And then you get the little peppers here and there and whatever between his friend Ralph Garman being in this movie. We got Kevin Pollak coming back from Cop Out, where it's like, I may have made a bad movie, but I got people that I know that I can count on and be in my movies going forward, so it's, even though it's a departure from himself, it's still littered with like his friends, if you will, on top of bringing in new talent.
People he likes to work with.
Exactly.
He's going to bring them back. And
like, I would like to see another John Goodman, work with Kevin Smith.
Yeah, this is one I'm gonna have to go rewatch soon because I haven't seen it in a while, and it deserves a rewatch. And if you haven't watched Red State, I highly recommend it.
Oh, do it.
Yeah.
I look at that 6.2 on IMDb, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah. Well, it's just an IMDb rating. People
know.
can rate it without ever watching the movie.
That's true too.
All right.
It's not funny. 1 star.
I like when Kevin Smith movies have something to say, and this is one of those. He has things to say about religion, and you see that in Red State. You also see it in our number 3, Dogma.
Yes. This right here was my introduction to Kevin Smith. I knew of Clerks. I knew of Mallrats. I think it was Clerks. Actually, we had a Clerks poster in my yearbook room at high school, but this one fascinated me because this is post Good Will Hunting. This is post. Oh, Ben and Matt are huge stars, and we're gonna put them in a Kevin Smith movie. We got freaking Selma Hayek. We got Chris Rock, Alan Rickman. Again, this is one of those ones where it's just like, you seriously got all these people in this movie, And I love the premise of it. That his idea is that this is how I knew that I grew up in when it comes to religion. I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm wrong, but this is my interpretation. Take it or leave it. One of the funny stories I absolutely loved about this is, and I return this to you here to ask you if you've heard this story of Kevin Smith's. Because if you haven't, you need to start watching his Evening with Kevin Smith and his specials and shit.
Okay, I think you know where you're going.
The Rickman one?
No.
So
well, I don't know where you're going with it, but
okay, so
I have a different story from this one.
Okay.
When you're done.
So the story goes is that he tells Jay that he needs to be on his best behavior. He's already been through Clerks and trying to keep him in line, try to keep him in line with Mallrats and everything like that. We have Alan fucking Rickman. We've got Hans Gruber on set. Don't fuck this up, right? And then the first day of shooting, Jay Muse comes on set, not only knows all of his dialogue, he knows everybody else's. Because he wanted to make sure that he did not fuck this up for Kevin Smith because Rickman was in the movie.
Yeah.
And, Kevin Smith is just mind blown. The fact that he's like, oh my God, you know all your lines, Jay? Well, yeah, and I know everybody else's too. So, and your story goes?
My favorite, maybe Kevin Smith story ever is when he heard about people picketing the movie and boycotting it. He and... what's Johnson, right?
No, it wasn't that Brian Johnson was with him. It's that when he was interviewed by the news company that was there...
Wasn't he with them, though?
No, but he gave Brian Johnson's name instead of his own.
So, yeah, he's out, like, people are picketing in this movie and saying it's against religion, and it has, like movies, like some of these religious people do. They'll picket anything. But, yeah, he shows up with a sign that, like, says, like, fuck Kevin Smith and stuff. Like, he's out there picketing with these people, and he gets picked out from the audience,
out of the
group to be interviewed by this news station. Uses his buddy's name. And if you haven't seen that,
have you seen this movie? No, I heard it's garbage.
It's garbage. If you haven't, just go watch the clip on YouTube. Like right now, it's hilarious. Yes. I just love the fact that he's making fun of his own. Like he has that sense of humor.
Yeah, he's like, if people are gonna go pick up my movie, I'm gonna go pick it with them.
Join. Yeah. So I love Dogma. Like I've only watched it the one time, but it's just one that like I'm gonna have to go rewatch again because.
And if that be the case, if it's going to be a rewatch, you're gonna have to borrow it from me because it's out of print on DVD.
Oh, I have it on DVD.
Oh, do you?
I own it. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say because it's out of print on DVD. It's not available on Blu-ray. It's not available on streaming. Like, I don't fucking get it.
Yeah, it needs a remaster on Blu-ray.
Yes, definitely.
Maybe when Jay and Silent Bob reboot come out, we'll get a full, like, box set Blu-ray with all of them.
We can't.
That'd be nice.
We can't. There's too many fucking studios involved.
Damn it. Studios,
I know.
Just do it.
But I would say highlights, Alanis Morissette playing God. I love the fact that he went the different route and be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to make God a woman. I'm going to play that card. George Carlin is the Cardinal. My favorite is Buddy Christ.
We haven't even mentioned Buddy Christ.
Buddy Christ. The Shit Demon. Freaking Jason Mewes is the devil or the demon or whatever you want to call him and whatnot. Just everything about this movie is... I'm glad this was my introduction into Kevin Smith. Because it let me realize that he's willing to break his own rules and his own thoughts to give something that he feels is his interpretation of something. And while by having fun with people, I mean, to have Chris Rock be the 13th apostle, that sort of thing. I mean, the way he went about it, the introduction of the movie burger.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Dogma. It's I might I kind of just want to rewatch it right now. I haven't seen it. I probably watched it for the first time about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
You're gonna have to wait until November. You gotta stay on your Halloween thing right now.
Yeah. It's close.
This is nothing. This is not fucking Red State, Tusk, Yoga Hosers. That's a little closer.
Yeah. So Dogma, our number 3.
Number 3. Number 2.
Number 2.
Mallrats. Mallrats.
So Mallrats brings us my favorite Kevin Smith character.
Banksy? No. Wrong Kevin Smith movie.
Brody.
I know.
Yeah. Jason Lee, I think, is like... He needs to be more of Kevin Smith's muse. Like, he's so perfect in, like, anything he puts him in.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, his character of Brody in this movie is perfect. Like, he's everything, like, every comic book fan wants to be.
Right. Where else are we going to have some of the conversations about superheroes ever? In terms of whether or not Lois could handle having sex with Superman. Mm-hmm. The remarks they make about the Incredible Hulk. Like, there's nothing left, to be, What's a Nubian? Oh, wait, wrong one again.
Mallrats. Yeah, so one of my favorite characters in this, like I said, is Brody, but his interaction with Michael Rooker's character and the chocolate pretzels is probably the most iconic thing from this movie.
Did you ever see any of the Guardians of the Galaxy memes where they superimpose Jason Lee's Brody in there?
No.
Yes, they throw a little bit of the pretzels into that.
Yeah, so Mallrats, if you haven't seen this one, it's basically about these two slacker dudes that just hang out at the mall with everybody else in this little town. And that's about it. But basically, one of them has to try to win back their girlfriend, and hijinks ensue. This is definitely a hijinks movie.
I need to figure out where... I think I know where they're at. I need to get them out and whatnot. I purchased... And we're talking a long time ago. I have the blueprints. I have the Jay and Silent Bob blueprints from the movie that I need to get framed and put up on a wall. Because I think that shit's just funny as hell. But yeah, I mean... Rooker is...
So why it at our number 2? Why would you put it this high? I mean, I have it this high too, but why would you put it this high?
Because it's just a great movie. I mean, it's a great, solid movie. It's ensemble cast. Jeremy, Jason, one of the Londons is T.S.
It's Jeremy London.
Jeremy London. Well, when they're identical twins, it's like I think their eyes are like the only thing that's different about them. You got to give me a little bit of a break. This is Shannon Doherty kind of getting off of the 90210 stage kind of thing, going a little bit different and whatnot. I do recommend watching the anniversary edition, the 10th anniversary, because there's the director's cut and it actually has a completely different opening to the movie and whatnot. It's fantastic. And our first and only entry into canon of the MCU.
The only Kevin Smith that is canon.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is another thing that's a standout in this movie. The Stan Lee cameo, I guess, is what will you call it? He's pretty much a role. He's playing himself.
I would call that a supporting role because it's more than just hey, he's there and you move on. He legit has multiple conversations.
With characters in the movie, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so if we're going to go... I think we mentioned this way back in our Stan Lee episode that we did, like our 3rd episode, and we talked about Mallrats. And yeah, he has a great little role, and having his conversation with Brody is hilarious, especially Brody asking him about the Hulk. And
yeah, I mean, could you imagine? It's 95. Stan Lee already has the most infamous, about him, and it'd be like, hey, I'm making a comic book-ish movie, if you will, or comic book-centric before, whatnot. Before you did Chasing Amy, and it's like, I get fucking Stan Lee, and I'm going to have some weird-ass fucking conversations.
Yep.
And
these are probably questions Kevin just had for Stan already.
Right?
Yeah.
He's like, if the Incredible Hulk... I can't say anything bad about this movie at all.
No. Ben Affleck plays a perfect dirtbag in it.
Yes, that's why I do hope that if they ever do make the sequel to Mallrats, that we get dirtbag Ben Affleck again, or if anything, we get like either he's like in prison because he's really fucked up, and we get our 5 minutes of him, and that's all we get for the movie or something like that, or we get like. He's redeemed himself by doing something to make himself not look like the dirtbag anymore, maybe. Because he's already gone girl. So we need to clean up Ben Affleck or something.
Bring Ben back.
Bring Ben back.
All right. So in our last movie, this one does have Ben Affleck in it. He brought him back.
Well, look at that. We're like on maybe that's our problem with our top 3. It's Ben, and Ben.
Maybe that's where his sweet spot
maybe
is.
Maybe we need to get back to that whole Ben and Kevin need to work together again.
Yep.
And forget Jersey Girl. Damn it, Jersey Girl should have been 4.
All right, our number 1. If you couldn't figure it out, it's the last one we have left. Chasing Amy.
Yes.
Yeah, the first time I watched this, I liked Clerks, I liked Mallrats, I loved Chasing Amy.
Right.
This movie is, I I think, far and away his best movie. And that's not to slight his other movies, but he's on a different level in this one. Like, the writing in it is perfect. The characters and their performances, like Ben Affleck, Jason Lee, Joey Lauren Adams, like, it's all three of those main cast members are perfect in their roles. And it's basically about these two comic book creators. They help create, Blunt Man and Chronic. And it's Ben Affleck's character of, what's his name again? Holden?
Yes.
He falls in love with this other comic book artist
Who happens to be a lesbian.
who turns out to be a lesbian. And it's like, it's just one of those movies, like, you kind of, what if you put yourself into Ben's shoes in that situation? What would you do in that situation? And it takes a taboo subject, especially in, 1997, and explores it and asks questions about it. And that's where I think Chasing Amy stands out in his filmography.
Right. Well, and I mean, just it, if you look at Mallrats, you look at Clerks, it's kind of a departure. It's like his first departure out of his not necessarily his wheelhouse, but out of his
Clerks and
comfort zone.
Mallrats don't really have a plot. They're kind of just hangout movies, conversation movies.
Now, this is a conversation movie, but for a different type.
But actually has something behind the conversation.
Yes, there is the conversation of sexuality, not in that we're going to make a dick and fart joke. There is the race conversation when his friend gets all up and poking fun at him when they're on the panel. I mean, they definitely he doesn't pull any punches with this movie. He's unapologetic about this movie. I mean, this call me, to say is there's a certain caliber. I was making reference to the fact that Tusk is distributed by A24, which are known for art movies, right? It's got to be said to be something is the fact you have a movie like Chasing Amy that is part of what is deemed a prestigious name, if you will, and be considered, the fact that it's on the Criterion collection. Yes, there are hundreds.
So is Armageddon, but
there's hundreds of movies. Yeah, but I will defend the Criterion version of that movie any day.
Anyway,
and so is The Rock too. So, but the fact that Kevin Smith has a movie that is part of Criterion, I think speaks volumes to this movie. The Criterion. Yeah, you joke, you make fun of the fact that it's got Armageddon, and there's maybe not some sort, whatever, but no,
quality movies are.
There's
going
a caliber to that name,
and like Chasing Amy, I think like we've both agreed on is his best movie, and yeah, just the questions it asks and tries. It doesn't really try to answer any of them. It just tries to. It creates these questions and makes you ask them, and it makes these characters ask them. And it is, I think it's his best written movie. It also has probably, in terms of like the Kevin Smith tropes, Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, Jay and Silent Bob, are not really a part of this movie, like integral to cutting back to them to these are for jokes. They're really point, set up.
They're literally just wallflowers at that point. They're just literally background. They're just there to be there.
They're there to pretty much connect it to his other two movies.
Yeah.
Give him comic book characters with those two, and have probably my favorite Silent Bob speech is in this movie. So yeah, Chasing Amy is far and away my number one.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like these characters. I would love to see them come back more. Like. He keeps talking about doing Mallrats 2 and Clerks 3. I'm like, do Chasing Amy 2. Like,
he did.
Continue that story.
He did it in comic book form.
But I want to see it on I don't want to read.
I doesn't read.
Yeah, but I think him and Joey Lauren Adams kind of had a little bit of a falling out from what I understand. But they were dating at this time too. But yeah, I would love to see these characters brought back in some form in a future Kevin Smith movie. So I'd like to see where they're at now.
We got them in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back
for like 2 seconds.
So we'll see them a little bit in Reboot.
Hopefully.
Well, I think isn't Ben already to be?
Who is he playing though? I don't know.
He'll be playing this character because Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is literally a remake, a reboot, a sequel, all rolled into so they probably did they have him listed on the IMDb page?
I don't know. I'm checking. So Jason Lee is going to be playing Brody.
Of course he is. Well, we already knew that. They've literally shown shots of him.
Maybe he could have played someone else in this. I just realized I lied about because Craig Robinson is going to be in Reboot.
You fail.
So at least he's coming back. I like that. I don't see Ben Affleck listed in here.
It's probably one of those ones where it's like...
Oh, no, he is playing Holden.
Yeah.
So it might be a quick cameo, nothing more, unfortunately.
You never know. We'll see.
We'll see. So, yeah. Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. It's hitting road shows this month. Also doing Fathom events.
15th and 17th.
The 15th and the 17th of October. That's the one I will be at, so I'll be at one of those two.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure which one I'm going to, if I'm going to be able to get to, but at least if anything, if I can't get to the Fathom events...
You're already going to the road show.
I'm going to the road show.
All right. Do you guys agree with this list? Do you think we're pretty close on Kevin Smith's filmography? I think we did pretty well.
I think we did fantastic, and if they don't like it,
make your own list.
Don't listen to us. Listen to yourself.
Yeah, if you do have a list, though, drop it in the comments of the YouTube page or go to our social media. Let us know what's your top 12 or what's your top 5. We want to know what's your favorite Kevin Smith movie. All right, so yeah, we're going to wrap it up here.
Wrap it up.
We got to mention a couple things that we got going on here on the backlot end. The first thing we got to mention is we're doing another Sioux Falls Film Community Meetup. This one is Wednesday, October 23rd, once again at Full Circle Book Co-op, 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. We're going to be talking some Halloween movies.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, yeah, if you want to join that, Sioux Falls Film Community Group Meetup, Wednesday, October 23rd. Hope to see you there. We have to mention you can check out the Killer Countdown, our horror-themed podcast. Our latest episode of the Child's Play series just dropped this week. Go check that out. We rank every movie in the Child's Play series, including the 2019 remake.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which I still haven't watched.
How do you rank a movie?
I wasn't part of that. I wasn't in that episode.
Okay, good. I was going to say, how the fuck do you rank a movie you haven't watched?
I didn't. That's how.
The only reason why you got off on a couple of these is because I've seen them.
Yes. All right. You can also check out our interview with David Weiner, the director of the In Search of Darkness documentary, the most comprehensive documentary of 80s horror ever put together. This 4.5-hour long documentary can be found online just for the month of October. So that's the only time you're able to buy this, but you can check out our interview with the director right now on any of our podcast feeds. Also check out our movie buddies, Fat Dude Digs Flicks. Check him out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check out all his movie reviews. Also check out Somewhat Random Movie Collection with Corey Jacobson on Instagram. Does fun little Instagram post around Sioux Falls, so definitely go check both of those two guys out. Also check out our TeePublic store. You can find some cool Backlot 605 merch and stickers and t-shirts. It's cool stuff, guys. Go buy it.
T-shirts.
You can check out this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and join the Sioux Falls Film Community Group on Facebook. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, next week, though, we are bringing back one of those movie friends of ours, Fat Dude Digs Flicks. Andy Heller will be back on the Backlot 605 podcast to talk Will Smith movies.
Yes.
In honor of Gemini Man, we're going to be talking.
I don't know. I'm still on the fence with that shit. I don't know. The de-aging thing still bothers the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
It looks like they pulled the
some stills from Fresh Prince and pasted them over Will Smith's face.
Yeah, but it's like they forgot to go back and remaster them first, so he looks like he's in a low-res version of himself. Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking Will Smith movies. We'll talk about some of our favorites, some of our guilty pleasures. We're
going to go back to the Wild Wild West.
We're going to go back to the unfortunate Wild Wild West. Oh, no. So you can check that out next week. We will be joined, like I said, from Andy from Fat Dude Digs Flicks. Brian, do you have anything else, or is that it?
No, I think that's it. I think we're doing a stupendous job.
I think we got it down. So, yeah, thank you all once again for listening. This has been a lot of fun.
It's been super fun.
We got to talk Kevin Smith for an hour. That's always fun.
Yes.
I think we made Kevin proud by talking.
I know. We need to like tweet him and be like, hey, you need to check this shit out. We talked about you for an hour on my podcast.
On our podcast.
Talk about me on your podcast.
So thank you all once again for listening. And yeah, you can check us out next time on the Backlot of South Dakota.
Bye-bye now.